Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Everton 1, Newcastle United 0. I feel sorry for every horse in the northeast today. It must be a very traumatic day for all those horses. I hope they all got through it. But we're happy. What? What?
I'm delighted. It was a huge win, and it feels amazing. Forget what we've had to do since our last win. We've had to do a lot of these with
a lot of soul searching. Lot of soul searching.
But it was a massive win last night, and answered a few questions, I think.
Yeah. Huge night, wasn't it, John?
It was all right, yeah. It was. Yeah. That Guinness is wearing off.
I've got to say, all of a sudden, it's gone a bit hoarse there.
No, I mean...
watch yourself.
It's, you have to have been there, don't you, in many respects. I mean, the people who have to watch it on TV or choose to watch it on TV, they only got half of it. I mean, being in the stadium when the goal went in was amazing.
It was
truly amazing, yeah.
I think one of the things as well, one thing I noticed just looking at the league table, and this is a little bit mad, is that Everton have won the most games now on the bottom 7. Which I wouldn't have, wouldn't have thought.
Have we lost the most in the bottom?
But we've also probably lost near enough the most in it. But no, just in it. That's two ways of looking at it, isn't it? You can go with that stat, or you can go with the other one. But it took us what, 3 months to win 2 games of football, and we've won 2 in 6 weeks. So the time's getting shorter. You were talking about. Yeah, but you were talking about.
Yeah, we've gone from being a 1 in 3 month team to a 1 in 6.
Yeah, 6 weeks. So we can improve that. We might have a chance. But it was it. No, it like John just said, it's a game of football and it's 3 points and that's all it was. But
it's history now.
It felt amazing.
Ultimately, last night, the game, it wasn't no one can turn around and go, Everton played supremely, they did this, they did that. What we did last night was we won a game of football. And ultimately, that's what you're supposed to do 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 times a season, really, if you want to be where we want to be, which is chasing Europe. But obviously where we are, you just have to win them by hook or by crook. And I said it wasn't a spectacular game. There was moments in it that just made it absolutely crazy. People chaining themselves to goalposts and things like that don't help. But just that relief in the sense of people actually coming together for once. There's been because, listen, I've seen a lot of people today saying, you shouldn't have been criticising this player or you shouldn't have been criticising that player. Players deserve to be criticised. There's no other way of looking at it. But last night, every one of them stood up to a man, did the job, run through brick walls. And that's all we ever asked them. That's all we ever asked them, and they've done it.
It is mad, isn't it? Because there is that common misconception, I think, about Evertonians, is that, they're a tough bunch to please, and, it almost that what more that they expect kind of thing. And yet, when you actually speak to Evertonians, you say, like, what do you expect? And it's like, well, everyone works hard for the shirt. We love players for doing very little. When you look at other clubs and the successes that those clubs have and the top players that they have, we love our players nearly as much as they love theirs for much less, and all we want is you go out and run and work hard for it. Of course you want to see good football, of course you want to see top players, but first and foremost, go and do what we do if we have the shirt on. And I think when they do
Get tired after 5 minutes.
Probably, yeah, 5. But run around, put tackles in, show you care. And the fans will back you, and that's all he's done. And it is funny when people say, "Oh, you had to go with him the other week. Look how he's proved you wrong in one game." It's like we have got 25 points, mate, and it's middle of March, and we're in relegation battle.
It's like the off-field stuff, isn't it? That a win doesn't mean the underlying problems have gone away.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. The frustration for me always is, if you just use your example around effort, if a player puts in a real shift and then is anonymous in the next game or was anonymous in the game before, that makes it worse.
Yeah.
Because a player who can't do it can't do it.
Yeah.
But if he does it when he feels, you've got a Wobie up there, right? Alex needs consistency.
Yeah.
No one disputes the technical talent he's got. But if he's running around like a headless chicken, as we've all seen him, and not impacting on the game, and and he becomes an accident waiting to happen, that's why people get on his back, if you will, you know. But over the last 2-3 appearances, that's got to be credit to the manager, hasn't it?
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
And that was the only piece of quality probably in the whole of that game. Right. Won it.
Yeah.
With the movement, Seamus getting the ball, blah blah blah. But it was what they're capable of, and we just need to see it more often.
I think that's right. We've said this as well. It is, and you're absolutely right, John. Is that the most frustrating thing about this, and it's why people like Jamie Carragher will say these players are a disgrace. Gary Neville will make Gary Neville, poor fella, put his reputation on the line twice this season and went, I still think Everton can have a really good season. He can beat that. But it's because of that. If like you hit the nail, I think I said this to Ped on one of the programmes we've done this week or last week. It was like, if they're crap, they're just crap. Yeah. And you can go,
just not good enough.
They're just terrible. They're not good enough. Yeah. We've all seen Everton teams in the 90s that were crap. They were poor, really. They didn't have the money, the talent wasn't really there, but they battled and scrapped, and fortunately we got out of trouble. This team is worse because there is talent and ability in it. And when you see last night, the same as when we seen Leeds, the same as when we seen Man City, where the players stick to the job, work hard, engage the crowd, and then you watch them go to Spurs and capitulate, and you watch them go to Southampton and not throw a punch after 15. You watch them go to Newcastle and throw the towel in because the fans were a bit loud. That's when it winds you up. Because Everton could easily lose those 3 games that I've just said, 4 games. If they put the effort in like last night, I bet you they wouldn't have lost all of those games. Yeah. But if they did, and they got beat, you'd just go, all right, but they were better than us
today. It's the games we lost, or we lost against inferior teams.
Well, on paper, but played on
that's the classic, isn't it? You know, pundits will always say, no team's too good to go down. I'm sorry, but lots of too good to go down clubs have gone down, and it's been because of the lack of application of the players. I don't know if they still have up at Finch Farm, you know, with the old thing about hardware beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. This is a group of players who, for not just this season, for too many seasons, have looked like they're not prepared to work hard. They're not prepared to earn the right to demonstrate their skills.
Well, let me ask you this, John, because me and
we're being negative. We won.
No, but you've just said it right, though, John. You've just said it right just before that. One moment last night won the game. One moment. Yeah. Well, you've got to fight for 90 plus minutes to get that one moment.
That's the point. You've got to earn the right.
You've got to earn the right.
And the quality.
And last night they earned the right to have that one moment. And in other games, we've either conceded first, which has took us out the game, or like the Man City game, whatever. It doesn't quite happen. But last night we earned the right, and that's saying we're not being negative. It's just saying that's the difference in a win like that and a game that we didn't win, like on Sunday when we played someone like Wolves, who really very similar game plan than Wolves. It's just that Wolves scored first and then stayed on top, and we couldn't mentally find a way to do it. Where last night it was like the carrot was still there, and we found that one little moment, and that's what got us the win.
See, I always, perhaps day job type stuff from days gone by, but I get concerned when I hear the manager say they didn't follow the plan. How can that be? Talking particularly about the Tottenham game. Is that just a stock response that shuts it down, or because are we really expected to believe that we had a game plan, say, against Tottenham that rightly says sit off them, they're useless with the ball, don't let them get in behind, blah, 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 and then we played 50 yards up the pitch just because the players decided that's what they were going to do. So there's issues there, but the manager's brand new, and this lot have had a load of managers, and if you give them some leeway because of that, they've had managers who are all different.
And some have been, like Carlo, what people say, world class, and they haven't been able to do.
But you come back to the point that you make there, Ped, about you have to work hard to earn the right to do
that moment of quality
when it comes. And in recent games, or maybe games throughout the season, really, we've had moments and not taken them. I mean, come on, we could have been sat here going, and he put it wide. Yeah.
No, of course, and that's the thing.
But he didn't. But that's the point.
Most good teams work hard, and the top 2 teams in the land work harder than anyone else, and that's why they're the top 2.
Well, that's why I think managers in this league have the easiest way to make their players work hard. They say, look, the two by far best teams for the last 3 seasons are also those who work hardest.
Yeah.
Do you think you're anywhere near as good as Mo Salah? But look at his application compared to yours. At least put the effort in. And someone's got into the head, hopefully a little bit of Benitez, I think, and Frank's building on that, hopefully, into Anthony Gordon's head, that you've got all the talent, but you've got to do the hard work as well. And he's like chalk and cheese from what he was even at the beginning of the season.
I think below that as well.
A year ago, certainly, yeah.
I think below that as well, there's a ton of teams on which you can look at and go, West Ham, Southampton, Crystal Palace, Wolves, who are
honest, work hard.
They all work hard, and they don't get as many moments. And when they do get those moments, if they take them, they win the game. But because they work hard every game, they get more of those moments, and that's why they're above.
And that's one of the one of my frustrations is when you do that paper exercise and do your player by player, are they better than us? And it's why this league, particularly because of the lockdown with no fans in the grounds and stuff like that, I think that's what's been, the resurgence of Moyes, because it's about structure and everyone knowing their job. And if you don't work hard, you don't play. But Guardiola says that about his players. If they don't work hard, they don't play. Right? And therefore, you can go a long way in this league at the moment just by being organised, working hard, and those sorts of things.
Absolutely.
And so we have to do that. That's the bare minimum. And I think the first thing that this group of players need from, if you like, if they want to have this synergy with the fan base, is not so much for us to get behind them, which is where all the rah-rah comes, like, let's get out, for us not to be on their case. And that's the one that's indisputable. We're not a difficult fan base to get on side.
No.
Because we don't ask too much. We just ask you to do your best and put an effort in. Yeah. I mean, we've had players here who clearly were not good enough to play in the league, but they never got slagged off by us. Right? We probably laughed at them, Aeneas or Stracawalasi or whatever. But we never faulted their application.
Because they give everything.
Because they gave everything. And so maybe that just means we have a group here who have too many who think too much of themselves.
I think it's a bad makeup. It's a bad makeup of a squad. But obviously the starting 11...
It's a product of half a dozen managers,
It is.
Yeah.
And that's where Frank Lampard has to deal with what he's got. And last night I thought the starting 11... Baz, he obviously went back to a bit more tried and trusted, put Godfrey back at left back.
Safety first it was, wasn't
it? Safety first. And to be fair, the way they played did suit the likes of Michael Keane. I think he won something like 7 or 8 headers last night. Done really well. That was a game. But it was back to defending at the back, being, fit. The goalkeeper sort of helped as well, because he never went short. He always went long. So that eradicated that. Because going back to what you were saying, knock it on their backs, Sunday, it was negativity that bred negativity for me. It was players passing it back and then fans going, what are you doing? Go forward. Even if you put one round the corner. But last night it was just every time the goalie got it, he hit it forward. So we were starting from a higher base. If Richarlison won it, he won it. If Burns won it, we tried to get the second ball. And that's what you've got to do sometimes, isn't it?
I think he alluded to this, didn't he, on... It must have been the press conference, maybe on Tuesday, whenever he did it, Wednesday. And someone asked him that question about at what point do your philosophy, does it, at what point do you go?
Now.
This is what he said. So they kind of said, at what point do you change your philosophy and it's safety? And he went, we're at the point now. He said, we're there now. We certainly are. And we did that last night. We had the safety first. We know Godfrey can play that position. He was great in it last year. Arguably he's better there than he is centre-back at the minute. Thought he was, apart from one moment in the game where he let Almiron get a run on him, which he shouldn't have done in the second half. He should have engaged him on the halfway line. I thought he done well there. Michael Keane was excellent, but we know he's good at that big target man centre-forward, get himself up tight against win headers. He loves that. That's what he's really good at, defending on the edge of his box.
Do you think it's telling, though, I mean, the manager himself's going to feel some stress, isn't he, right? When the manager talks about we're going to go back to basics, and safety first and those sorts of phrases, isn't that the first line in every plan that a football team should have?
But I think,
don't give the ball away. Individual, competitions.
Where it's different here, though, John, is he's coming from teams that at Derby, he had lads who, we talked about this again yesterday, lads who wanted to get in the Premier League, but they had good football, and he wanted to play this ethos. He was in day one of pre-season. So they had all pre-season to say,
That's different.
This
I'm
is how
talking
we're
about,
playing off
yeah.
from the back. Then Chelsea was different. He could play, had all pre-season again, but he had quality, real quality players, so they played that way. I think when he's talking about getting back to basics for us, maybe he's come in and thought, we know he has. He come in and tried to play it short from the goal kicks, the 6 coming and getting it, play through the lines, enjoy the ball. And maybe he's just realised that just right now, that isn't the thing. Get everyone doing the basic stuff to stop putting us under pressure.
Yeah, I understand that, but he can see, which none of us get to see very rarely anyway, is these guys performing on the training field.
Yeah.
So he sees his technical competence and so on, but he also's watched us play for the last year, and not doing it when it matters. So I'm just surprised.
But you always think you can change it, don't you?
Of course you do. But I always think that just like players in a game have to earn the right, managers have to earn the right.
Yeah.
And you get a new manager bounce and all that sort of stuff. And, and clearly, Benitez, I don't know what he was doing because he wasn't even doing the basics.
No.
And Allardyce, when he came in a couple of years ago, all he did was the basics, as you might call them, i.e. don't lose.
Yeah.
And how many games have we had this season, like Newcastle away, for example? This is a don't lose game.
Yeah.
It's not a win game, it's a don't lose game.
Yeah,
and if we converted in the past some of those losses into draws,
we'd be all right.
We'd be all right. I mean, we were chatting before, games in hand and all that crap. But we were not 2 games in hand. We're above Newcastle. If they didn't play until we'd 1 or 2 games in hand, we would be above them. We'd have to be because of the goal difference and stuff. And yet they playing with the confidence of a team who think relegation is.
Belief.
But
that's the word, belief.
Yeah, but like we were just saying, Eddie Howe. When you think of Eddie Howe, open football, Martinez light. Yeah. When he went into Newcastle, I was like, don't know whether.
And he had a rocky start as well. Yeah.
Well, it's in Winford 1-1. Or didn't win for 10 games or whatever. But it was like, when you watched that team last night, that if you said whose teams, it wouldn't have been an Eddie Howe team. The way they played,
No.
They're compact. They don't really attack. They're not wide open. That's
nasty.
what they were. Get stuck in.
The difference is with Eddie Howe is he had 10 extra games to bed in a plan where it was almost like we can lose.
And I'm not criticising him, by the way. I'm just saying he's changed his style.
It was almost like we can lose those 10 games. Didn't win many. They picked up some draws. And then we can go into the window, know exactly what we need. Whereas we started at the back end of the window, where there was no room for error. And then also the managers found out probably in the last, whatever games he's had, God, we probably should have brought a centre-back and we probably should have brought a centre midfielder. Eddie Howe had the luxury of getting to the window and going, I know exactly what I need because I've seen what these players are and I know how we're going to play. And I think that's where we should have sacked Benitez.
A lot sooner.
A lot sooner.
And we should also make objective decisions of how many games a season are you going to get out of Yerry Mina, right? How many games are left? Therefore, how many is he going to miss? And then who do you put in? And if they're low in confidence and there's certain styles of play. I mean, what Ancelotti did was conclude, based on what I've got, I have to play in a certain way. And we sort of reverted almost to that last night.
We did.
We got a result. So.
I think Begovic come in and, like you said, he was fine. I thought everyone did okay. Obviously, Newcastle.
Well, let's just look at his numbers.
So 6 saves, 4 in the box, 1 punch, runs out. I think that's a claim. And it's duels, I think, 2 out of 2. So there, so 100%. And I think
he hasn't got short arms.
I think no, he's not a dinosaur yet. I think the reality of the saves in the box as well are. There was 2 real saves from it. The other ones were back passes, which he just collected.
That's right.
He wasn't really extended. He made a good one, a low one, which the flag went up. And when you look back, I don't know whether it was offside. And there was a header, I think, from Chris Wood as well, which he saved. Other than that, everything else was basic for him. What he did well was he was calm. Obviously, he didn't have Newcastle fans having a go at him because there was no point. They were too obsessed with the lad who wasn't playing. And because of that calmness, like you said, Ped, on Sunday, I think you're right, on Sunday, because Pickford's so good with his feet, we're encouraged to give him the ball. So we were knocking it to Mason Holgate and Ben Godfrey next to Pickford. And then Wolves were pressing us, then all of a sudden, you see what happens, we give it in, it comes back and Pickford whacks it anyway. Only when he whacks it, we're all in our half, so they're always on it. Because Begovic isn't as confident, everyone was going up. It was kind of what Pickford did against City. He threw everyone in and Leeds.
And then
he threw it in. and then went, no, go. And then everyone went, and then he knocked it, and we were up the pitch.
There shouldn't be any shame in playing long ball at this stage.
No,
there shouldn't be any, or mixing it. It's not long ball, it's mixing it, isn't it? It mixed that. You know, they were doing exactly the same. They were getting it in the mix, and they were higher up the pitch, and then it's a higher point to start from. It's not, I'm not concerned about watching good football, because I know this team can't play good football. So it doesn't really bother me.
Not
so
on a consistent
I want
level
effective
anyway.
football, which is, and you know, as I said, Byrne won a lot last night, but they're all going. It's going to still drop into midfield. It's up to our players to be
Can you win the second
But if you
ball?
take the pressure off our back four and just say you've got one job today, it's defending.
What did you make of where he played Anthony Gordon? Because obviously when I seen the team, I was like, right, I'm okay with the back. I knew the keeper was in. I'm okay with the back four. That's fine. I think you alluded to it yesterday, what it might be, with Godfrey's back at left back. And then I looked and thought, like, there's two in midfield. Where's the other fella? And then it was Anthony. So it was like, is it Alex Iwobi? Is he playing in the 10? And it was Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, I expected Alex to be the 10.
Yeah, and what I thought was interesting was he went and engaged Gameres, didn't he? Who, for 40 million, I'd want a little bit more from him. But Gordon went and engaged him. Damari Gray, I don't think had a great game. I think
No, he was rubbish.
Yeah, I think
Let's get it right,
he
he
was
was
off
rubbish.
the pace. And I think earlier I might have switched Gordon with and put another midfielder on. But what did you make of Gordon playing in it? Because a few people have said, and I'm talking not Evertonians, but pundits have said that's where they see him playing.
Oh, I do think he'll end up a very central player.
Do you?
Because I think he's got the work rate. I think that's the difference.
He has now, yeah.
He's got the work
ball,
rate and he picks up the ball. I think the difference is, to my Gray there, I can understand now why Gray didn't get into a lot of teams. Because he started brilliantly, but since he come back from injury, he just picks up the ball and runs into blind alleys. You're in a good squad, you're not lasting, you're out the team. He can get away with it at Everton.
For now.
He gets it's ups, it's ups and downs for him. Where Anthony Gordon, I think, has got a bit more at this stage. He's got a bit more of a brain.
Well, he's introduced consistency,
and he can
Anthony, hasn't he?
play in those roles, and he knows when it's time to. He still does the things young players do, but he knows when it's time to
Pop it off,
throw yourself on the floor, win a foul, get back, throw a tackle in. He I don't know whether it's adrenaline or it's because he has got a brain, but so I suppose you can get away with him. He's getting more experience, and I think again, if you play Gray in there, I don't think he picks up on all of those little nuances that he's already picking up. He's going to be a top player. I don't know if he's going to be a top winger. Someone before, Jason Cundy was saying last night, it reminds him of James Milner. Someone who we all thought when was a kid was going to be this big winger, but ended up because he had the football intelligence to basically be able to play anywhere. I think if he can keeps the work rate going, then yeah, he could be effective in there. For someone who works forward and works back.
He's come on, like John said before. He's come on unbelievably this season.
Playing games of football.
And we can give Benitez stick all we want. He wasn't
credit.
very good, but he deserves credit for the work he done with him, because a lot of people, including me, I thought maybe he needs to go on loan this season and have a full season, and Benitez kept him around and worked on him. And I think I've said before, the Norwich game at home, when he come on for the last 25 minutes and just stuck to a position, was the first time I thought, well, he's learning it. And then he played at Old Trafford a week later and was excellent. And he had a little dip and came back. But since that, kind of like Chelsea game away, I think he's been superb.
That's what you should get out of younger players. They'll do as you tell them to do.
Yeah.
So that might play in next season when we had a proper pre-season with this manager being more confident and putting youth in than some of the managers we've had in recent times.
The likes of Patterson as well, of course, then when given
Maybe it's a case with him to, if he's playing more central, then maybe there's less emphasis on him being creative, being the most creative player, and saying, no, you've got an overall picture of what's going on. Play the role as a midfielder.
Because I still think, even though I thought he had a good game last night, the Charles, and he battled away, I still think he wants to pick the ball up and run at people.
No, he does,
he doesn't really want to play with his back to goal.
That's right.
And that's why I think maybe, if you're looking, and Damari Gray still deserves to get in the team, even though I don't think he played very... You're right, he hasn't come back sharp at all. And he does run in blind alleys, and he's got to just get that decision-making a little bit better. When you're looking to try and fit them for him, and because I think when Dominic Calvert-Lewin's fit, he's got to play, because he's the focal point.
But at the moment, the one who'll drop out is Gray.
Well, that's what I'm saying at the moment. So it's grey, and that's maybe where if he wanted to fit the 4 of them in a diamond almost, it would. Anthony Gordon probably would be the most. Yeah. Unless you played Richie, then Richie can play there, by the way, off Dom, but Gordon might be the one to play in there.
The player out of those 3 who consistently goes past players and therefore can break lines is Anthony Gordon.
Yes. And I've just said...
It's clicked. You know what, I've been doing this since I was 8.
And
actually I'm in the Premier League and I still go past people. Whatever innate skill I've got, it makes it easy for me to get past players. Then the quality bit is what you do once you get that little yard or 2.
The next bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the next
and the danger areas for the defending side, if you're doing that in the centre of the park, you can go either way, can't you?
Well, exactly, and that's obviously...
So maybe that's where he will, as you said, he'll end up playing.
I didn't even include Iwobi in that 4, and lately his performances mean he comes into the conversation. But first half...
Clearly too good to go down then, eh?
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, you know, what did you make of the first half? Because I thought Everton started the game really well, actually, without, you know, we'd had a couple of half things, but without really creating anything. But I was happy with the way we were solid. I was happy with the way we were competing. They didn't really do much in the first half at all. I
thought we started well, but then I thought we backed off and allowed them too much ground in the middle of the park.
Yeah. They come into it.
And they started getting a lot of corners. What they did really well all night was, every time their wide players got the ball, their full-backs got up. It's something we have to start doing. And it's why I've looked at, when you look at our full-backs, you're not going to get it out of our full-backs. No. Maybe you're going to get out of Godfrey. But they started overloading us, and it forced just corners. And every corner you just think, oh my God, Bain, and you've got Chris Wood.
Even the other centre,
Sharp.
Kraft and the Sharp.
And you're just thinking, the goalie doesn't really like coming off his line.
Doesn't come for a big guy, does he?
So you're a little bit like, oh God, you've got to deal with.
And yet he came for a couple of claims and got them. It was like, why aren't you coming for
So they must have had seven or 8 corners. And that's where I was a little bit worried. They had 7,
we had 5.
They were getting them simply because they were overloading us at fullback.
I thought Fraser was lively for them.
Although when he came out at the beginning, I did think he was the mascot.
Because he stood in front of Dan Burn.
2 fellas next to him, and he was in the middle, and I'm thinking...
He stood in front of Dan Burn. That's why you were like...
the mascot's back.
So when they were trotting up to do the kneeling, my missus says, oh, he's tiny, right, sort of thing. I said, he's the mascot. She went, oh, sorry. And no, he's not actually. He is. You know.
He was unbelievable. He was like that.
It was a foot difference or more, wasn't it?
More. But I thought he was alive by first half, definitely. He was someone you were looking and thinking.
He's always enjoyed playing against us.
Yeah. Almiron was in and out.
He's a hard worker, but he
hasn't got the quality, has he? But I thought, you know, at half time...
Joe Linton was supposed to be injured.
Joe Linton, he was their best midfielder.
Yeah, but he was supposed to be injured, wasn't he?
He had a good game, actually.
Yeah, he was all right.
I mean, he's much better. He was never a centre-forward, and they brought him in and played him as a centre-forward, and everyone laughed at him because he's not a striker, but in that midfield, because he's powerful, and the ball sticks to him, he played well. But got to half-time and thinking, I was all right with it.
Yeah.
It was like, I knew what kind of game it was going to be. And it's thinking, right, big 45, now can we raise it a little bit? And whereas, to be honest, I felt the same on Sunday. I got it to half-time and I thought, that was all right. Yeah. It's okay, it's a big 45, can we take it forward? And we conceded after 3 minutes on Sunday. Whereas last night, we come out and we obviously had the oil protest at 2 minutes into the second half, and you're fuming because you think, we don't need this, we need to try to build a little bit of momentum, and that went on. But
have we not got the oil guy's stats, Ned?
No, there's no XG, no XG of the oil man. You know, fair play to him, he's got the right to protest, but you know, just at the moment.
Wonder what the XG of the guy with the bolt cutters was?
Oh, mate, well, I'd honestly say, the XG, yeah. Well, I mean, I thought he'd been more effective.
It was a plastic tie.
When they
what was it made out of?
Yeah, when they come running from that corner.
Just literally answered your own question.
When they come running from that corner, you can see, you think, well, because you're looking on Twitter.
I thought it was a chain.
Well, that's the point. Twitter's saying that someone's handcuffed themselves. And we're on debates like, how do you get handcuffs that go around the goalpost and all that? And then they turn up with these things which are for cutting cables about this big.
I thought, it must have like put it, because it's round his neck, and I was like, because obviously I could just see him and there was a melee, wasn't there? I was thinking, must be a chain, and they're going to like break the chain. Can he come below us? Like,
so he used an oil-based plastic. So
that was it, oil-based plastic, yeah. But you know, we got that went off, and it was important we stayed alert, and we kind of did They were the better side in the second half because they had more of the ball, but they still didn't really create much. We probably went the closest with Anthony Gordon's shot, which their keeper made a really good save from. We had Damari Gray stretch at the far post.
I don't believe I'm saying this. What was the XG thing for this game?
For the game, it was both below.
Well, ours was low. Ours was above 1, ours was below.
Ours wasn't.
Oh, it was?
The XG was 0.54, 0.72.
No, that's not what I've seen.
In their favour?
Go to understat.com.
In their favour?
XG, yeah.
In their favour?
It was marginally better than ours. Go to understat.com. I literally looked before we started.
So that means the goal must have had a low XG then?
Which is weird because it's centre of the goal.
Yeah.
It should have had an XG of higher than, well, it wouldn't have been 1 ever.
Be more than that.
But it would have been high. But anyway, it was...
According to the XG philosophy,
Yeah, I don't... That's,
0.67 us, 1.04 them.
yeah, that's not... They're black.
What do you mean they're black?
Because they had our...
Because it's not the number you
Because when we played City the other week, we had a higher XG than City.
Okay.
With them, you mean?
Which is none. Yeah, not with our one. Ours was like 0.24 when we played City. And theirs were like 3.
Okay, he's got 300,000 followers on Twitter, I don't know.
Well, you can write anything and people will click on it.
Subjective, isn't it?
Don't they? Of course.
It's not though.
No, it is.
It is.
It is, because it depends how they marked it. He might be marking it with low shots and high shots, which you can't do.
Maybe your one's doing that.
No, I go to Understat because they're used by FBref, which is used by White Scout, which is used by Comparison.
He's on one now, isn't he?
Words.
Yeah, because I used to use the proper one.
See, this is
not some fella.
Those ones make you pay for them ones. See,
there you go. Maybe
make you pay for life.
But anyway, yeah. But I thought they had more. They were better in possession than us in the second half. I thought.
But apart from the general tension, I think the point is, I don't know whether your views and stuff, but I wasn't sitting there thinking, oh, they're going to score or...
No, it's just the worry, isn't it?
The worry was...
Something will come from nothing.
We'll have a game here, and it looked this way, didn't it? Well, to me, anyway. This is going to end up 0-0. A point's not too bad, particularly after Alan was sent off. And then things are happening, you think, it'd be just like us to let the 14 minutes that these buggers get one in there. And, well, these buggers did. It was us. Yeah.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I wasn't sitting there
They're
thinking...
gobby fans. Shut up instantly.
I wasn't sitting there thinking, these are definitely going to score here. When
That's
it was 0-0. Because they didn't have any real threat other than a long ball to Chris
The only one was the one when he got inside.
Godfrey
pulled it back.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is the one. Just
That's
because
right,
of the amount of space he had to pull it back. But the shot was tame, and then obviously...
He made a good save,
it was a weird one, because he never struck it properly. It makes it sometimes harder to save them. And he reacted well, and Chris Wood's offside, and we cleared it anyway. And apart from that, it wasn't even...
It was only, like you said, though, the corners, because the big, you're thinking...
But even second half, I didn't really worry about that, about the corners. It's weird, because oddly, I always feel more comfortable when people... I don't know why I don't think people can score corners at the Galaxies. They do all the time, but it's like when it's down there, it feels...
Because it's far away, you can't see what's going on. But obviously, like John just said there, we had the red card incident, didn't we?
We did.
Which I can understand it won't get overturned, because it's... Just looking at it, when you slow everything down, it looks much worse. I mean, they've said the tackle was above the ankle, which it wasn't. It was on the foot. He did leave the ground, but so St Maxim was in the air as well. You know, we saw a situation at St James's Park where John Joe Shelby done a scissor challenge into Anthony Gordon's standing leg, which was a terrible challenge, and it was yellow carded, and they didn't even change it. So what it was we played Sunday League. Yeah. They weren't even a booking in Sunday League. They just beat you. A lad beat you and goes, you were away from me, and you go, yeah, all right. They give the yellow. The referee seen it. The referee was right by it. This is my problem. The ref was by it and give a yellow card for it. He didn't go like that and go, this is a red here. He gave a yellow card, and then he allowed Stuart Atwell to change his mind. He come over, once they go over to the screen, you know what's coming, right? He come over
but there was one of their players, and Richie, sort of looking over his shoulder.
Well, he come over.
And Richie jogged his way, guys.
It's directly below me, so it shows it again, and Coleman goes, no, like the Coleman's like that. Dan Burns there, and Dan Burn goes like, yeah, fair enough. They turn away thinking it's a yellow, and the Charlison goes like, yeah, it's right.
The screen there at the park end as well.
That was just below, isn't it? And then the referee,
normally in that gap on the halfway line.
Gives it, you know, changes his mind, and it's like,
it's just a reducer. All the time.
If he's standing there and he jumps in, I could not go yet to that card.
We can't have even the Shearers of this world, people who know football, saying that's not a red.
Danny Higginbottom, worst red card I've seen.
So, I mean, these are referees. They work for PGMOL. PGMOL logically is owned or whatever by the Premier League. The Premier League is owned by the clubs. Yeah. Just tell them you have to explain.
It's crazy because we had the...
Lots of these things will go away if they're forced to justify them almost straight away.
Well, Luke Ayling...
Just like, let us listen in.
Luke Ayling done one the other day. Scissor tackle, jumped in the air, scissor tackle, yellow card. There was another one this week.
Do you know what it is?
The other day, the same in the Premier League, both in the Premier League.
It's the wording of everything, though. It's like you just said, well, he may have come off the ground. So what? So you're telling me that if someone slightly comes off the ground, that makes it worse than what happened, with Shelvey. Shelvey doesn't come off the ground, but he nearly snaps the lad in two. No one ever said, the rule about coming, like, the tackles from behind, no one ever said, Marco van Basten has had his career destroyed because people keep on jumping into the back of them. They say people keep on kicking them in the back of them. Because that's why they changed the rule, basically changed the rule. It's the wording, isn't it? It's all about, he jumped. Well, he didn't. He sort of jumped. So
it's a lunge,
if you stop the tape at some particular part of that you'll see he's up in the air. Well, of course he is, because he has to sort of catch up with
this. Listen to the chat we were having before. If I'm running after Baz and I want to stretch, lunge, inevitably both my feet will be off the ground.
You and if you want to look, me?
And if you look at that in slow motion, because I'm running, of course my feet are off the bloody ground.
I said to John,
so you can justify anything.
I said to John, the Anthony Gordon tackle on Ryan Fraser in the first half, which was brilliant. It was brilliant. You could stop that at point of impact and go, Gordon needs to be sent off, because it was below
the aggression and the
face.
Intent.
He went right through it. He won the ball, but he went right through it.
Yeah.
You could say there's intent to hurt him there.
And the probably
two lads going for the... Fraser went on the floor, never said a word, jumped up, because it was a good tackle. Joe Linton done Coleman about 10 minutes after the ball below me. Said, see, referee played on. It was a yellow card, played on, didn't go and have a word. And that happened to us all night. I'm not saying they should have been red cards, because they weren't, but they were your bookings.
But that's the point.
Because he allowed play to go on, he didn't go and book them.
But you expect... I did anyway. That when play stopped...
He would book them,
Yeah, exactly. That one was terrible on Coleman.
And he didn't.
And
knocked him out the ground.
Yeah, I know we did. Nothing. And it's the difference.
There was one on Gordon in the first half when he nearly knocked him into Newcastle's bench.
Oh, yeah. When he was running down, he just wellied him. Nothing.
They pushed him off the field.
Pushed him off
the field in the first minute or two, didn't they? So.
Into the back, and it's that inconsistency. But that to me, if he'd just give the red, I'd have gone, all right. He's there. He thought it was a red card. We can argue.
Just the idea that you go and look at that and you don't look at the handball against Manchester City as well. It just baffles me. The whole thing baffles me.
Well, the two penalty decisions on Everton players. Well, people this morning saying he was Stonewall penalties, the pair of them. Coleman gets his ankles clipped and then the lad gets the ball. You can't kick someone to get to the ball, it's a penalty. And then Anthony Gordon, the same penalty we got against Brighton, the exact same pen. The lad's not playing the ball, shoving him in the back, whether Gordon looks for it. You can't, if he looks for it, it's because of knobheads like Jamie Redknapp and ex-pros who are entitled to go down. He shoves him in the back, he's not playing the ball. They're not running side by side and it's a shoulder pad. He's in his back. The ball's there, he's not tried to get to the ball.
Alan had obviously had a good game.
He did
so then, hadn't he? He'd had a good game. Let's just look at his numbers.
46 touches, he's had one key pass, completed 100% of his dribbles, 5 tackles, which was a lot in the game, and he won 10 out of his 30.
I like how you said completed 100% of his dribbles.
That was it.
His dribbles were good, though. His dribbles were good. He took us off the pitch.
Well, he was trying to break when he
trying to play the ball, put a couple of lovely balls through in the second half as well. Had a really good game, he was busy. He's dead weird, Alan, because I think I said this to Pat earlier in the week. Away from home, he seems to struggle.
He does, yeah.
But at home, he never ever seems to be like he's struggling. I don't know whether it's the energy from the crowd or maybe we play slightly differently at home, but he was well in the game last night. He was having a really good game. Alan, disciplined, and then obviously does that. But I must admit, when he got sent off, I was thinking, everything's going against us. 0-0's probably the best we can get out of this now.
Loads of time.
Because there was loads of time.
And it is
14 minutes.
It is getting that mentality thing of going, there's 14 minutes, but actually it's only the 76 minutes of the game. Loads of...
Well, there was, not like, he got sent off in the 83rd,
that's what I'm
so
saying,
it was still like over 20 minutes.
It's not that thing of like when they put 3 minutes
when you played 90 and there's 3 more.
This was like, because of the stoppage wasn't a football incident, it was like there's loads this is how long
you knew at least it was 10, didn't you, at the very least. So because obviously the VAR.
They had half an hour's notice that they were going to have a lot of extra time.
Thing, yeah. And I was thinking at that stage, just got to try and hold out for a point. But I was trying to, you do the positive thing in your head. I was thinking, if we get a point, at least we've stopped the rot and we've put an extra point on the board and need. But because I just thought we're down to 10 and we're going to naturally have to move, sit back. And I thought, to be honest, that he got his subs right, where we've been critical of his subs at times, going, should he have done that? Andre Gomez, lad who sits next to me, Andy, was saying, I think I might bring Gomez on it. This is before the sending off, because it felt like we just needed someone to get hold of the ball. And I thought, when Gomez come on, Dom was the right sub, obviously. Gray wasn't in the game. But Gomez come on, I thought he did well. He got hold of the ball.
Yeah, because when you go down to 10 men and you've still got that many attacking players on the pitch, I thought it was a bit bold. I thought it was bold to take the Richarlison off, I must admit. I thought it was. I know, but I did think it was like,
and he'd been booked.
You look for that kind of
one
player.
One of the booked players was going to go off.
To keep on the pitch, but
he'd been booked and then he fouled Kraft. And we're still going back, and I thought.
But obviously, we had to have another. We didn't have another centre midfielder on the pitch. We had to have a centre. So it was always going to be Gomez. We had to have a centre midfielder on the pitch, and then everything else fits in. Then you one less attacker. You can, if you're going for a clean sheet, you just have to.
But he done well.
It's legs then, isn't it? It's about
I seen him even sprint out of our box and get to a ball, which was mad. But he was strong, and even for.
Well, he got some things like that. When you've been wronged. And the crowd goes with you, and you've all got a job to do, and you have to work that little bit harder, and you've got a little bit more ground to cover. You've got something to fight for then, haven't you? You've got something, and they did, and then,
It almost means everything you do gets round. If you win a tackle, there's a round of applause. If you chase, there's a round of. It almost reduces what your expectation is as a player. It's like normally we're at home with Andre Gomez, he's got to get on the ball, create something. Where last night it was go on, run around and work hard, mate, because these are with you. Just do what you can. If you get it, put it down the pitch. And that's what I liked as well last night. I think it made a big difference. It's dead basic. It's the most basic thing in football. If you're a defender, keep it away from your goal. And there was a few times Michael Keane just put it down. Yeah, just knock it down there, mate. And we'll start again in your half, and we get our shape. And there was also a lovely shithousery as well from Ben Godfrey, walking up the line. The referee telling him to get back, and he's like, walks back one and carries on walking. And it was near the end, I know we'll come back onto the thing, it was near the end, he's walked up, and the ref's gone, go back, and he just turned around and went, off, and carried on walking as if to say, and the ref didn't do nothing. And it's like, that's what the top teams do. That's how they get away with that. They just start being, I'm going to do what I want. But I thought Gomez, he did make a difference in there because he was another midfielder.
Because we didn't have a midfield.
We had no one in there.
No. And then it's come down, obviously, listen, one big moment like we spoke about before, one big little bit of quality. But it's not just quality, it starts off with the other side of the game. Seamus Coleman wins the ball. He has to win it because St. Maxim had been lively like he always is. A world-class player when he plays against us.
He's fast though, and he can't half run the kid.
You can't, but Seamus Coleman had to make that decision. You either hit him now or he's gone.
If he goes, you're in. If he runs the other way, you're in trouble, aren't you?
So he had to hit him early. Played a good ball into Wolby.
Well, let's have. We've got it all here, so we may as well have it.
I mean, we haven't got it.
We haven't got it, but we've got.
We're not rights holders.
No,
but maybe if Ned plays the pictures really, really quick, it'd be like one of those
flick, a movie from thingy. So let's have a look. This is the first one. So I've got a Wolby and Coleman circle. So obviously Coleman's got to win that tackle. You're right, Ped. St. Maxim nicks that off him. We're going the other way and we're in trouble. Wolby's, that's his starting position. And Gomez had done really well, actually, up to that point.
Tom's way over on the left, isn't he?
So if you go for the next one, Ned, this is where Coleman's won it and he's given it to a Wolby who picks it up. And he's still got it, he's in the centre circle with the ball there. Dom's just on the bottom of the screen to the left. Yeah. Next, Ned, this touch here, shakes it. He literally just takes it. I think it's Dan Burn out the game.
Dan Burn, we've said he heads... everything like it's a bag of cement. Yeah. He actually moved like a bag of cement.
He went full Michael Keane there because Iwobi originally looks like he's going to go off to the right and he shifts the ball.
What that is though as well, isn't this? We often talk about this. This is pressing at its best. We've won the ball, but because they're
pulling him out,
because they think Maxim's going the other way. This is where pressing at its best works. This is like the other side of it.
Well, it is.
It's what Liverpool and Man City do all the time.
Press there. You've nicked it and you're gone. And then we go on from there. It's a great first touch by Iwobi. There's Dom still circled. He's now left them for dead. Look how far the gap is already from one touch. He took him out the game. Dom's circled. We play it on again. That's the ball. He's played the ball into Dom, and he's going to carry on there, the arrow. That's carrying on with his run. And I think this is what was key. In the past, and I don't know whether he'll ever do it again, but in the past, he's knocked that ball into Dom, and we stopped running. Yeah. And because he's prepared to carry on with that run,
look at all the space.
It opens it. Look at the Newcastle players chasing. There's a big
Dom's shape allows him to see that.
He does. Dom's going to go that way, and he can carry on. So if you knock it again, there it is. He's still making that run. Dom's going to look now. Play it one more for us, Ned, please. Plays it off to him, and there's the corner where he's going to steer it.
Makes it look like the goal's open, doesn't it?
The goal, well, that's it, because of the run. The keeper's had to come to that post.
Maybe if the keeper had longer arms, he would have saved it.
Maybe, but that's the view I had. But I think this is 2 great shots from behind the goal. As a Wobie's going to strike it, and then this one now when he strikes it, and it's past the keeper and into the bottom corner. And
we're all up by then, aren't we?
Sellable, yeah. Where I sit,
is that where you got stood on
the floor?
Where I sit, the minute he opened his foot up to it, I could see it was in. And obviously the actions and celebrations were just
how much of what was that 99? So there was
99. Still another. He played
5 minutes, and he played 3 more. Played 3 more.
Yeah. 8 minutes.
And I think we dealt with it. Let's just have a look at Wobie's numbers.
33 touches, 1 goal, 81% passing accuracy, completed 100% of his cross, and won 2 tackles, scored the match-winning goal. So a good performance, but you know, the celebrations when the goal went in was unbelievable. Like, unbelievable.
Richie was fantastic.
Oh, I mean, the Charlison running off the bench to that like an absolute lunatic to join in.
I mean, what were you doing when the goal scores? Because I'm in a park end, so it's just there, right? Yeah. So the first thing I noticed is that obviously Wobie goes and stands still, and
Gordon goes to there.
Gordon runs straight past him and has a go.
See any of that?
And then when I pan across to see where they're all I see Richie running it. Top speed. He'd gone off pretending to be injured almost, right?
See, this is the beauty of like the Gladys Street in the park end. The Gladys Street, when goals like that go in, you disappear. Yeah. Like you literally disappear into a hole. Like there's lads around me, some of them I don't know, some of them do know, and they're just on top of you. Brandon, one of our patrons, sits about 12 seats down there. Someone's ragging me and it's him. I don't know, where did you come from? Like, I'm on the floor, my mate Iggy behind me's on the floor, there's fluid all over me. I've no idea. Could have been WK 40 for all I know.
Just for Miggy.
It was just pandemonium because people are grabbing you that you don't know, and you don't. Yeah. And when you said about Richarlison appeared in the park end and no one could figure out how he got there because we never saw any of that.
We scored in mine, so up at Bullens, I just grabbed everybody. But as I'm spinning around, grabbing people, I just see the white hair like that, giving it, and I'm like, what the fuck? And he's on the top, and then people are kissing me behind. I'm in front, I'm there. I'm looking for Zach, and he's celebrating with someone he didn't know. They're jumping up.
And my missus went that way.
It was just unbelievable.
But I don't even think I saw the ball at the back of the net because I saw him.
Well, you know.
I saw him.
Because you knew it was going in.
Because bodies were already like, it was ballistic.
And obviously, I could see their fans, and they just went silent. For the rest of the game, they may as well have gone home. They were silent.
They were in shock.
And it was unbelievable. And because you're up against it, because everything's gone against us, because you're down to 10 men, because you're near the bottom, it was just unbelievable. I don't know I can't remember the last time I felt like that when a goal went in, that late. I know Damari Gray's one in December was great. It was brilliant, but it wasn't like that. No. There was just nothing like that. That probably the best feeling I've had when we scored. It was great when we scored at Anfield last season, but we weren't, none of us were there, and not, it was empty. Probably the best feeling for years and years, and I mean that of when that went in. It wasn't quite like it, but things like when Gosling scored against Liverpool in the last minute, Arteta's goal against Fiorentina when the ground was shaking, them kind of moments.
My missus always brings up Andy Johnson's header against the shite, you know, when the goalie
when he drops it. All of those moments, but last night
because you get to see and you know what's going to happen before it happens. As soon as he shot, that was a goal.
What it means, and then at the final whistle, people have got tears in their eyes, and it's like, what did these put us through? You know, we've won a game of football. You know, I said after it, imagine if we were in a freaking Champions League semi-final or something. You know, look at the celebrations for a league game, and I've seen some Newcastle fans, like, you know, they celebrating like they won the league. It was like, well, like you were the other week, by the way, when you beat us. Yeah. But you can't have a go with fans for celebrating important moments. And that was an important moment. Our fans, by the way, last night were magnificent.
Also,
for the most part, they were absolutely magnificent.
Also, though, it's you
can't control it.
Control that. That's not like...
There's something wrong with you if you don't
When
react.
they scored against Leeds the other week, right, and we were made, it was really, yes. It wasn't like that.
When he scored against Boreham Wood, I just went, nice
I didn't even.
You know what I mean? I just went, nice one, that's what you're supposed to do, but you can't.
You can't.
That's like,
pick how it makes you feel.
You can't. No, you can't. That's like just
everything come out, didn't it? And people, in your case, everything come out. Yeah. But people around me, people who were normally calm and collected, you could see their eyes were welling up. And when I went down the concourse, after a couple of people come over to me and like, me tickers bouncing out my chest there, and I wasn't at that level. I was just like, it was just amazing, wasn't it? And
unbelievable.
It's like you said right at the start, John. And you feel for we had the Tennessee Evertonians in here last week, and Clay and that, and
yeah, but they really worked hard enough.
No, what I'm saying,
that, though, you know what I mean?
But he would have been watching, won't he? He'd have been watching over in America.
Oh, weren't they still here?
And they'll be they'd gone. So they'll be dancing where they are. Astro and all, Gary Ward, all our patrons bouncing over in the Richie in the States and all of that. Bruce in Australia, living upside down, on to celebrate.
Upside down.
All the people who can't get to the game, people who were up and down the country couldn't get there. Elizabeth, another one of our patrons, the cat's probably terrified.
You don't have to name all of them.
No, but I'm saying those kind of people will have been bouncing around their rooms and jumping all.
But that was for us who've suffered all the pain every single week.
In that stadium, all the fans like you, John,
that
go
was for
home and away.
Yeah,
all of that. Unbelievable moments. And it was 3 points. It wasn't a cup. It doesn't mean we've won the league. It doesn't mean we're safe. It doesn't mean we're in Europe. But if you could just bottle that moment again, it'd be unbelievable.
And that's the point in the moment, because in that moment,
it was the same as everything else.
It's why,
I imagine,
you drive to Norwich on your own and we're shit.
Because I wouldn't go with you.
Whatever. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why you keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because you're loyal, the passion and all that stuff. But moments like that last for a while.
Yeah.
It's like go back 30 odd years and sort of thing. People who are there at Bayern Munich, it's there, it's in their head forever.
It's imprinted.
And you have to have been there to get it. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people got. People got an experience last night, which will stay with them. Do you remember when Iwobi scored?
It's not the Bayern Munich though, is it? It's the Portsmouth 1-0 at home. Last minute, Leon Osman.
All those things.
That's what I'm saying.
They're all moments.
That's what I'm saying. No, it's not. You don't come back for because that's like it's for those.
Bayern Munich was the pinnacle for me. Obviously, as a kid, it was unbelievable. But you're right, in that moment,
if you're in the Gladys Street,
I can't differentiate from winning from Bayern Munich to Dan Gosling in FA Cup against Liverpool, or to
feel any better, do you?
To Duncan's header against United in 05.
In the second half more often.
All of the stuff you can't. There's no different. In that moment, it's the most important thing in the world. After it, you can go, well, Bayern Munich meant more because we won the league, the outcome. But in that moment, there's no difference. There's no better. What we had last night, there's no better feeling. No better feeling. And Everton could win the league, and we'd be celebrating, and it'd be unbelievable, and we'd be on a high and all that. But there'd be no difference in the feeling, that goal, a cup final, that goal going in. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's not better than that feeling last night. It was the same, and it means more after it, and you got but just for that moment, that was as good as anything.
That's why you go to the stadium.
That's what it's for.
To get that moment.
That's what it's for. And it was
such to get it more often, don't we?
Such a huge moment. And we're all a bit like, you're buzzing the next day. You're on cloud nine. Twitter's a lovely place today. Normally it's the worst place in the world. And that's the thing, is that because it's stupid, because it's 11 millionaires running around the pitch, you don't really, but we're so invested in it that in them moments, you can lose your mind.
Said they don't really, and missed the word care off.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I can't.
But you see them on the touchline behind the goal. Yeah. You see them in front of the dugout.
Well, I was going to say then to both of you.
The release for all of them.
I was going to say to both of you, that was what the point was. I forgot before, because Frank Lampard referenced it in his press conference before. Isn't it great to see that from them though? And I know it might be superficial and all that, but I think that's probably what we need. I think as fans, I think that's where we are. Seeing them lose their minds when we Damari Gray running onto the pitch, Richarlison, you know, giving it injured 1 minute, Usain Bolt.
There's different ways of interpreting whether footballers care. Scoring goals, of course they care, of course they're going to get involved.
That's their job.
I actually look at it as whether they make a 10-yard run to stop a cross from coming in to see how much people care.
No, I know, but I just mean
no, I know, but that's what I'm saying. No,
as a manager,
you win your moments. You get moments like that by doing your 10
Of course you do,
and
but
last
I just
night
meant...
people did. No, but that's the point though. Last night people did those little things to get that big moment, like we said earlier. You get your rewards for working hard, and in other games we haven't. Last night we did, so yeah, they deserve that because they do that. But we still got 25 points. We're still fourth from bottom. We're top of the bottom league. But that's great to see that. And of course, they're human beings. They experience it like for them, like us. Not going to be the same as us. But I'm saying you get those rewards. This is why when people go, you look at Sunday and people go, oh, well, Sunday you said we were the worst team in the world. Because on Sunday we were the worst team in the world. You put the hard work in. You close people down. You do all the things the shitty little jobs to stop the opposition, to allow you that one moment so you can have that celebration. No, I know over the line. There's no difference. Frank Lampard has been waiting for that. And that's he's allowed to deserve that. And I've got no problem with Richarlison running 30 yards to celebrate. That's not what I mean. And I'm not saying they shouldn't celebrate. What I'm saying is you'll get that more often if you do that more often.
The other stuff. And
that's what John said it before. And I've said it loads of times this season. Don't cheat us. In the games where you all run round and look half-assed. Newcastle, nearly every single away game, you can go, what was that? Put the work in and we'll back you. But they don't enough times, and that's why we are where we are. So run round, work hard, score goals,
win
celebrate,
games, stay up,
games,
and let us all sleep a bit easier at night.
Season.
That's the one.
Win the cup.
Win the cup.
Done.
There you go. Let's see the stats.
Was this the game? Oh yeah.
So did they have 62% possession? It's Newcastle.
The last
They're a small club.
Mostly in their own half.
From the North East.
But to be when you look at the possession thing after the 10 men, it went right up. They had all the ball. They still had more, but it was nowhere near that.
Sweet spot.
We had this for 38%. Carlo, that's Carlo's sweet spot, the 38.
And there you go, they had no big chances. We had one.
Pass count was a lot different.
And the no big chances buys into the XG, because a big chance is more than one.
There you go.
So there you go. Again, told
Where do you get your XG from? Let us know in the comments. How can you have different XG? It's supposed to be like a universal theory.
Yeah, supposed to be basic of where it is in the goal.
Universal, but it's still subjective.
But I was saying to you before with the Iwobi thing, if that isn't a high XG, it's the middle of the goal.
Do you think this is how Ned keeps on getting different height sizes for himself?
Using different
he just keeps on using different
measurements. Yeah.
One day I'm 5'4", the next day I'm 5'6".
Sorry, sorry about that. It's just a joke. Did you see the interview at the end with Iwobi and Coleman?
Yeah.
And according to the stats, Iwobi's like 2 inches taller, and he looked like a foot taller.
He looked about it. Yeah,
Maybe
Coleman was closer.
Maybe he'd put his
Maybe
Coleman had put his slip-ons on.
Maybe.
He was still wearing his
what I loved about that was Iwobi said about 2 words.
Yeah.
The match winner. He is a
there you go. Happy days. 3 points. On to the semi-final. Semi-final, quarter-final. I'll take semi-final as well. On to the quarter-final on Sunday against Crystal Palace. We are live here on Patreon right now. We're staying live on Patreon. If you want to join us on Patreon, the link is in the description. And also scan the QR code and you can get
QR codes as well.
Got it all now, John.
2022.
Got it all.
What I mean?
Yeah.
There you go. Do all that. We're going to stay on Patreon. So
see you later.
See you later.
Oh.